All right, Yogi. So as far as warm up in our yoga core, it's definitely good to get the legs involved and the movement. So how about we start standing today? Just remember to pace yourself, have some fun with it. And depending on how you're feeling, depth, reps, and intensity is modified. Okay. So find your good posture for a moment. And I'm just going to take you through a warm up, no particular timing. I might move a little bit faster through some things, and then you kind of catch up when you're ready. So we take a nice big inhale in our nose. Remember to bring some breath into the abdominals. Some people call it diaphragm breathing, abdominal breathing. It's really good, especially for our yoga core class, right? Abdominal breathing. So good posture, intentional breath. Some people like to put a hand on the heart and the abdomen, and you can kind of feel where your breath is going more clearly. So right from the start, we have more intention in body, more intention in breath, more self-awareness. Then let's start with our warm-up here, yogis. I'll go through some movements, make it your own. Squat Kriya, here we go. Inhale, sometimes I'll move my arms, sometimes I will not. Sometimes I'll swing my arms. I'm a little tight today, so personally I would do my squatting. Notice I'm not going as deep as I can. All right, I might sit down in it and bounce a little bit now. And I'm starting to feel a little better in the knees, so I'm going a little deeper maybe. I'm going a tiny bit faster. I'm starting to breathe deeper. How you do your warm up, is just context of how your body feels. But this is a good, nice linear movement. No weight on your arms. Hard to start arm weight bearing. Just body weight on your legs. That's normal. So, really nice warm up here. First exercise. Last few, please. Notice I did a lot of different things with my arms. I'm not necessarily stuck on one thing. I'm being an artist, a dancer, but also kind of analytical and intentional, okay? Next warm up, it's just like sun salutation. It's bending over, okay? It's called a hinge in yoga. So I'm gonna start like this. Your knees more straight, weight into more toes, okay? If I'm feeling like a little more stretch, I go a little further, maybe arms up. Maybe a little back bend at the top. But again, further range is more risky, particularly early in class. Don't forget, there is this quality of strength to it too, guys. We're working a warm-up, we're activating muscles. Movement requires muscle activation, right? Don't forget, it's kind of like a cat-cow, right? At the top, I'm almost like a cat, subtle probably, and then here, I'm more like my cow, all right? So there's two kind of more isolated movements commonly used in yoga and in fitness. Now we'll do that nice complex style, putting them together. I do want to add the standing back bend, yogis, all right? When you're ready, watch me here. Standing back bend, hands on the hips. This stretches our front body a little bit. You don't need to push deep. I go a little deeper to show you. Reach for the toes, forward fold. Take the squat. Okay, this might be a lot, right? But it isn't the warm up. Stand up, back bend, reach for the toes, forward bend, squat, back bend, forward bend, squat. All right, can you get into it a little bit? And again, it can be something more like hinge chairs back bend, right? So if it's a little much, watch me here, guys. Especially if you miss the first two movements to warm it up. Back bend. This is that half Ardha Uttanasana. And then you go to chair instead. Back bend, hinge, chair. Back bend, hinge, weight in the toes, chair, weight in the heels. That's our easier modified. Last few, guys. Usually when you think of warm up, it's legs, right? Like say you're just going to exercise, it's like treadmill, elliptical, bike, it's legs, right? And you obviously you're moving the arms too and the body, but the legs are always the kind of big warm up thing. You don't probably start on your arms, most likely, okay? So this is a fantastic movement, guys. Remember this one because it's putting together three fundamentals. The standing back bend, the hinging, and the squatting. Really good. This is just like our cobra, right? Squat is like our child pose, and then this is like our down dog, the hinge, right? Next time you're forward fold, guys, take it back to tabletop. No rush getting here. I'm just kind of moving through some stuff. Good old cat cow, but I'm going to do circling because we already kind of did forward and back a lot. So I just kind of get right into it. If I'm up for it, boom, big circle and kind of more exploratory. Now you're looking outside the forward and back movements. It's the first time really getting into probably a big side body for a lot of us. Okay, and then it's not really a twist, right? It seems like it might be, but it's really not. All right. All right, let's do a few fundamentals down here, yogis. Good old core work. Can't beat this one here. Meet back in tabletop. I move forward. Right leg, left arm. Okay. Exhale, knee and elbow. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So this is the first asymmetrical. It's non-weight bearing, right? The lunge, the hinge, and the squat, or excuse me, the hinge and the squatting were very kind of, the two sides are similar, right? Symmetrical, it's called. And then now one grounding down, stabilizing weight, one is like moving a lot. So very asymmetrical, not only in form, but in activation method. And if you're feeling excellent, you could do it in plank. If you're just a little much still, you just do the leg. You keep both hands down and the leg goes back and up and you squeeze it in, okay? And boom, I'm just gonna have you switch sides because we're still kind of in warm-up mode here, guys. So no rush. Sometimes you do 6, some days you do 12. You know, it just depends on the day. You know it, left leg and right arm. Just make sure you're gripping. If your left hand is down here, you gotta turn on those fingers. And if the left leg is lifting, push the right foot down, right? Ground down, what's down? Get into it, guys. When I did like about an hour and a half workout yesterday. I did about half hour, a little bit more of good, strong yoga, and I felt hard to feel good. So I did some weights for probably like 45 minutes after. I went right into plank here. You know, I was feeling good. It was more in the end of my warm up, but I was just in plank balancing, and I was doing the arm, the knee, the elbow. So that's more like the further tier there, right? In case you're feeling good. Next position, no rush getting there, would be down dog. Some of you look done there, so I'll cue you forward. Some of you are still going, right? So down dog is next. It's a little bit more of that first kind of static stretch. But you know, you're still in warm-up mode, getting into the ankles and the feet and the
back of the knees a little bit more. So this is all stuff you know. You don't need to look at the screen. You don't need to think too much. You can just be in your body. Nice meditative, present form. All right, and then I'll shift you forward eventually to your first plank, so static, right? So back into that real full body here. I mean, if you're feeling good and you want to do push-ups already, we are going to do chaturangas, but you know, if you want to do push-ups, if you're feeling like you want to do foot hovering, a more challenging plank, go ahead. You could be on the forms. Let's get a good minute plank hold in here. Make it quality too. Butt squeeze, thighs engage, belly pulls in. If you want to go to a side plank or something, feeling good, you can. Shine, yeah. I tend to do push-ups more than just holding plank. Personally, I tend to do, you know, at this point in my journey, I'll do a lot of push-up style or vinyasa, chaturangas, and then if I'm holding something, it's more like handstand. It's more unstable, balancing plank, side plank. Plank is really good for warm up. It's really good for beginners. It's really good if your body's hurting. But if you're feeling good, it's kind of, it's too easy. You know, you don't get enough. Excuse me, I'll say I don't get enough emotional challenge there. You know, I can hold that for minutes and I'm kind of just like, you know, it's not enough mental challenge and emotional challenge. All right. Now, when you're done there, I'm going to get you back into a movement. All right. So this is like kind of fitnessy yogis, but it's a good one. And there's a lot of room to play with it as far as your own creativity. So maybe take a knee or take a down dog. I'm going to put my hands on blocks just because it makes the step forward easier. This is a really excellent movement. All right. Right leg rises. We get that butt going again. Second round of leg lift. Right foot outside the hand. Right arm up and open. Twist. Right hand down. Right leg up. Right foot down. So I'm just cueing movement. You can pause anywhere you want because I'm going to let you go in it for a minute or two. Left leg up. Left leg forward. Left arm up. Twist. Left hand down. Now you can do it like this. Boom. I like the leg lift yogis because even if you do it in plank, right? Because it gets the butt. That's the core, right? So the butt lift, the hip flexor, the core rotation, the back. You can even add push-ups in between for more of that, guys. Okay? So basically what we're doing in a nutshell is a lunge twist and switch sides. I'm waking up your twist. I'm also taking that lunge, first lunge, so you can see the biomechanical progression here. But that butt lift, a lot of us really need that leg lift in the beginning or the end or both. How you want to make it good for your body, guys. Sometimes I break it down. I'll have you like just lift your legs, make you focus on that. Some days you do the knee to forehead a lot, right? Some days you step forward and you're doing a repetitive twist. We're putting it all together. Get into it, yogis. You know, you're looking at like 10, 20 per side here. A lot of movement. Slow down, find strength and full body awareness and breath. And then once you're getting good, you speed it up maybe a little bit. I made a very weird tea combination this morning. I don't know what I was thinking. It's peppermint, apple cider vinegar, and licorice. It has a very interesting flavor. I use this warm up all the time in many forms in the practice. It's really good, yogi. So if you're, looking for a nice way to warm up legs and twist, core, this is upper body too, right? So because it's that back fly. As you turn the chest up, the back open up. Because you just did push-ups and planks for the chest. It's like the opposite. It's like the pull. All right. So no rush. I'll just move you forward. We continue on the arms here because we're on the legs to start. We're going to slowly come back to down dog. And then it's basically a few symmetrical chaturangas. You can do them however you want. Knees, swooping, slow holding, depends on where you're at. Gentle cobra, child pose, up dogs. So when you're ready, just bring it right into it. High plank, low plank, up dog cobra, breathing and moving. I want a lot of heat because then we're going to go into our second tier standing. And then it's going to be your abs directly and your butt directly. Okay. So this is basically, you could say, second tier warm up, and it's the end. This would be the first really big stretch probably for the front body. All right, looking good. Just remember, in the cobra, we don't want those shoulders forward and up. We're working on bringing them back and down. Okay. Once you can get them back and down in cobra, then you can bring them back forward and up. I get that there's different qualities there, but if you're so repetitive in your nature to do cobra like that, we want to first get to cobra here, right? Once you're good at that, then you can do it this way again. All right. So I want to keep you going here, guys. You're doing your chaturangas. We're eventually going to walk from down dog, walk our feet to the front of our mat. Bend our knees, stand up nice and slow. And I do want to wake up the side bodies. And this is we haven't been doing it that much as of recent, and I do it pretty much always, at least a little. I'm going to intertwine my fingers. I'm heading you a little bit. Arms up, squeeze the butt. Okay, and it's side to side. Now, if you want it stretchy, I get it. If you want it to hold, that's okay. Just something to get really into your side bodies. A lot easier is just something like this, right? Notice I'm not bending deep, right? Because I said easier. I could bend deeper if I wanted, but that's more risky. Come on, feel the side body. Step your awareness clearly into the side. All right, when you're done there, shake it out. Now this is that transverse abdominal. You've already done this a lot. It's knee into chest. Okay, arms go up, palms face forward. Yogis, this is core training. I want the attention to be there. Our goal is to pull our belly in as much as possible. Okay, transverse abdominal training. Yeah, shake it out if you need. Our goal is to pull our abdomen in and up so much it cramps and hold, maintain position. Okay, this is not comfortable. Okay, we're here. Right from pull your lower abdomen in. Lengthen your abdomen up, your side body's up, your lower back up. Even that will start to cramp, but we'll add on, we'll lift the left knee. I drive through my right heel, I lift the left knee and pull the belly in. This is very important training, yogis. I learned this straight from biomechanics. This isn't really a classic yoga thing here. Okay, left foot down, reach up, pull that belly in, and right knee lifts. I already did my nollies this morning. I'm good. I don't need to do it. I actually did one round of this after my nollie Krias. My transverse abdominis has been trained and stimulated. Okay, then you're going to try to do 3 per side. That's a good start, but you got to go strong when you get weak. Okay, that's the key. you gotta maintain the intensity of the body there. Okay. So the main goal is to pull your belly in and up. And you notice when you lift the knee, you feel it more, and you pull up more, knee up more, belly up more, then you put that foot down and you're going on your own. Okay. Try to get to 3 per side. That's it. We're not going to do a second round. Does everyone feel it? Lower belly. I've tried to tell you, you got 4 layers of abs, and the deepest one is the transverse, and the muscle fibers run side to side, right? You have muscle fibers that run straight up and down, rectus abdominis usually, right? You have muscle fibers that run at angles, both angles. You have interior oblique, exterior oblique, so they run like that and that, right? And then you have the ones that literally run like this. That's what we're working on. You know, remember this, yogis, that when muscles are weak, they get stuck long in a lengthened out position. If that muscle is weak, your abdomen will stick out in all angles and go down, right? We are literally just hugging it all up and in, all right? It's an important practice. Muscles that are strong get stuck short, hugged in and tight, okay? This is for skinning the waist and supporting the spine, okay? Let's go here, guys. Next exercise, you're gonna need a block probably. Now, I wanna demonstrate this, and then I want you to have a nice go at it. It's kind of like Warrior 3, but done in a couple different ways, 3 ways. My left hand is gonna start with my block. My right hand's gonna start on my hip. If you'll watch me for a moment, please. It's stuff we do a lot in a different way now. I'm gonna bend that knee. Now, if this is too much, you don't need to go all the way down, right? I'm gonna bend my right knee, keep my spine long, put the left block down. I'm gonna show the basics. Stand back up, left foot hovers. Left hand grabs the block, stand up. Okay, that's the first part right in front of me. Watch me here. Oh, here we go. Right knee bends. I put the block way over on the side. I stand up. You could go here. I pretty much always go full range there. Okay, and then look at this. I'm controlling it. Look at that spine long. Up. Oh, here's the tough one. My left leg goes behind me now. I start to put it out on the left. I stand up. Grab it. So it's putting your block down, standing up in front of you, bending back over, picking it up, standing up. You're on the one foot, it's stamina, okay? It's endurance and strength and coordination and balance. This core. Then I go over to a cross. My right leg is in front. I reach the block over across. So it's this weird space, yogis, okay? We are a half hour in almost. We're time to pick it up a little bit in complexity and body challenge. And then the third part, you're putting that block over to the left. You have to kind of turn, not the pivot, not the left foot though. The foot doesn't pivot, the right foot, excuse me, that's your balance leg. Your left leg would kind of go off behind you. You know, it's almost kind of like a revolved moon, an open moon, kind of. Let me see you try. It's core training, all right? You can do it on 2 legs too if your back's hurting, right? Basically, it's like picking stuff up off the floor. You put it down in front of you, you pick it up, you put it down over here, you pick it up, you put it down over here, you pick it up. That's really basics, right? But I think most of us can handle the one leg. If you need the demo from another angle, look, it's at Warrior 3. I'll go too fast, just so I don't spend too much time distracting you. Over across, see that one? See how it's off my mat? That's a good way to measure it. And then look, I put it off my mat over here. Don't go that fast though. When I usually do this, guys, if you wanted to challenge yourself, you do it with like a weight, right? Like a kettlebell. If you really want to challenge yourself, athletics, when you're training an athlete for performance, you're on like a Bosu ball. You're on a very unstable surface, right? So you can put a cushion down, step on that. You get them on a very unstable surface with a weight, right? So you're gonna go through this. What do you try to do? 2 to 3 per. You're on the right leg, you do 2 to 3 per spot, and then you switch sides, right? Depending on how new, we've done this before, it's been a while. think we did it. It's been a while in this class. All right, so second side, when you're ready, we're just going to do one round. This is like our warrior 3 work today. Okay. Nice. Yeah, you control that body. If you don't have a block, you can, pretend like you got one. You just do kind of like 2. When you do it with a weight, which is really how they teach this eventually, it's very different because you do one with heavy. You like resist going down and you release it and you come back up. Then all of a sudden you have to bend back over and pick it up. And it's like, it's like a puzzle for the body to have weight and not pick it up, put it down. So hopefully you're on around your second side. I'll give you 1 more minute only. Looks good, everyone. I just don't round the spine too much, right? I tried to express the idea of keeping your spine long. One leg will be way better than another, probably. So be aware, you need some extra focus on that weak side. Oh, nice, Donna. You do have a kettlebell. Oh, wow. Yeah, Stella too. You got a big kettlebell. All right, guys. Now, I don't want you to do too many of those. It's kind of weird and, a lot of space. That's our first real big in between. Everything we've done has been very linear. Everything is linear, except maybe circling and cat-cow. And I saw a few of you getting creative. Even though we're doing twists and sides, it's still very linear. So I want to do a sturdy posture into hip rotation. Hip rotation is very core, guys, and this is not like classic yoga, but I want you to work it, okay? We got to keep an open mind. Yogis get too close-minded. If my teacher didn't teach it, I can't do it. We got to be careful with that, okay? So I'm going to get you now into this. It's another squat or a chair in yoga. Now I want to work the pivoting. Now just be easy because we're barefoot and we're pivoting on those toes. So I'm going to take the hands on the hips or in center, and I'm just going to turn that right knee in. It's kind of like your second lunge, maybe tap. Turn that right knee out. And I want you to try to slow down and feel it in the hip, okay? Left knee turns in, bends a little more, lifts a little bit, and turns out. So my toes are out, my right toe turns in. And I kind of like squeeze my thighs together for a moment. And then right toes turn out, okay? Get going. It's a simple, repetitive exercise, but it's weight-bearing rotation. It's a good one, okay? Get going. After this, I'm gonna have you like move in a very free way, okay? So you'll loosen up. Don't let the back arch, don't let the shoulders tense or spine round. Be aware of the upper body, please. Go slow. This is one you got to slow down and feel, right? You have all these little muscles. Piriformis is a very famous one in the hip. That's an external rotator. And yogis, how do we rotate our hips? Pigeon, figure 4, warrior 2 and triangle, pretty kind of good rotation, static and range. Yeah. We don't do that this much, we don't do this that much. It's key. All right. And then take a rest. Can you do 2 rounds for me? And after this, what we're going to do is a big creative movement. All right. Looks good, everyone that I can see there. But just remember that you're like kind of scissoring your thighs together when you turn the knee down and in. And when you turn the knee out, it's like your thighs go apart actively. It's like frog. Your back of your thighs are lengthening backward. And when you're in that lunge and you pivot it in, it's weight in the big toe. When you're in the lunge, yogis, when you're here, it's squeezing here, weight in like the big toe. When you're here, it's pushing out. So these are going apart. It's the opposite. And you're pressing on the outer edges of your feet, right? Okay. Scissoring, big toe, opposite of scissoring, they go out. And the outer edge of the feet press down. Last few moments. And you know, we're doing some sticky stuff, you know, this into that. That's big, right? So, you know, you just shake it out a lot. I don't always say that, but, you know, doing things like this and the Qigong shake and you got to find release between those, yogis, if you need it, okay? So now we're going to come into full body complex creative, less stiff and rigid. Remember, the EEG charge, I talk about EMGs, that's muscle. The brain electrical charting is the EEGs, and they find that the frontal lobes hit and all these new brain patterns start in the creative movement, okay? So let's get to it, guys. Creative movement. Now, I just want you to, in a sense, dance in your body. You know, the forms are there maybe, but not really. They're just kind of structured. I just kind of want you to like start to move a lot. Look at this. This is still kind of structured. Okay, look at this. Okay. I'm just starting to get a little crazy. All right, I want you to move a lot. All right, to give some of this stiff work a break. We came from here, we came from here. It was all very stiff. I want you to close your eyes and be the dancer in the body with grace and skill, strength and flexibility, trying to explore unknown areas and have a little fun doing it. So I'm going to try to give you a minute or two here. You can be anything. You go down your chest and start to do the worm. You can start jumping around. You can do a cartwheel. You know, be creative, yogis. That's the whole goal. It's not to move in a certain way. Got to have this part of class more often. Can you try to take a form in your body that you've never done before? And then do another one you've never done before too. Because after this, we're going to kind of get a little bit more linear and structured again. You know, I said that, you know, when you study the EEGs, I said it in not the clearest way. I said that the creative brain is the highest EEG ever measured. That's context. Some people, when they were measuring it, love is higher. And some of the neuroscientists think it's because they're not a very creative person in general. They're not like an artist. But the fullest EEG measured ever is when an artist drops into their craft. It's not love. It's not, you know, when we have love, it's like there's certain part of the prefrontal lobes that hit. It's not like the full thing. A certain part of it hits the hardest in love, but the fullest, remember the prefrontal lobes, prefrontal cortex, it's 40% of your brain. And it's like the only not programmed part. The rest of your brain is basically programmed. So the idea is that when we do creative things in our life, you know, you are firing your brain in a way that nothing else really will. And it's the part of the brain that makes humans very special, the crown jewel. It's like in my opinion, it's just the most fascinating part of the brain. It's like reprogramming the rest of the drone brain, right? The brain that just follows whatever, subconscious. So we're trying to turn on the part of us that makes us us, all right? I love discipline yoga, but it's only part of it, you know? Okay, if a teacher gets too controlling, they limit you. You have to unleash what makes us unique in the practice. All right, so I want to do one static balance. A lot of you look done there. I know that can be kind of tiring too, right? You're moving a lot and it's tough on the body. So just something tightening. So I'm thinking a nice tree pose would be basic. Like basically a static balance. What was your balance? This, right? You did this too. That's pretty good. Options,
All regulars. If you want to strengthen your feet, our toe balance. My heels are lifted. Okay, and I'm just balancing here. I could do a little bit of bending the knees if I want. If you wanted to do simple tree, if you want to do a cool stretch, half lotus is for beginners, okay? Just notice my left heel went way up on the thigh, my knees stay closed. This is the first way. If you want to stretch this way, this is how you start it. Right hand grabs outer left foot. Yogis, my knee joints stay closed. See that? Closed. Right hand top of left foot, left knee falls open. And then I stand up. All right. More basic too is just this. This is glute training. Really good for your butt. If you know your butt needs to get stronger. So let's get one more just kind of meditative final standing posture today, guys. I think after our creative movement, man, what else hits the frontal lobes really well is meditation. We know that, that's proven. Man, you heard the telomere length can increase quickly with meditation, immune function, and meditation's been clearly shown to reduce inflammation in the body quickly. All right, so let's do it. The brain just basically functions different than the normal thinking mind. Okay, so let's do our second side, just slowing down. Last standing posture, yogis. If there's anything you want to do, that's okay, because we're basically gonna be on the back for the rest of class, depending on what you're working on. Come back to your breathing. So listen, yogis, we are going to make our way down. I see, looks like a few of you look down there. We're going to make our way down. If you want to do a sun salutation or something, that would be the time. If you wanted to do, any last posture around plank, I'm going to kind of skip that stuff. We did a little dose of it earlier. We're going to make our way to our butt eventually. Okay, I'll give you another few moments to get there. So I'm going to straight isolate the core now more, right? Abs, butt, outer hip, oblique. So this is the end of class. We'll go for another, like 10 minutes or so, and then we'll take a few stretches to end class. All right. So this is your last here already of any really strong activation. And again, there'll be easier options or stronger options. All right. I like to start right in I say this all the time. People hate on crunches, but if you want to strengthen your abs, you have to do crunches. Leg swings, it's a lever, right? It's going to hit psoas major way more, not your abs as well, okay? So I'm going to start with the block between the thighs because it just activates front line better, all right? It's good for front line. Not my favorite for bridge, but I like it in front body. I'm just going to go isolated, yogis, all right? If you want to do sit-up, that's fine. Just something to really focus to hit the abs hard. So I lay on my back, I pull the belly in, inhale, and exhale. I pause, and then I inhale slow. If you want to go further, sit up all the way, right? Just make sure you lower down really slow. Inhale, exhale. Nice and isolated, like I said, right? Closed chain. Some days I have you pulse here, some days I have you hold. We'll do kind of the movement, the full movement today. Nice basic sit up or crunch. Come on now, push it, yogis. Remember your goals. This is the opportunity. You're in the moment to strengthen the core and the abs. Take hold of it.
Remember, if your back hurts, we suggest lifting the chest up more, not forward more, right? So it's, you're just kind of like popping your shoulders up instead of like going forward, okay? If that makes sense. And this is kind of a classic little ab routine. I've just kind of taken some biomechanical principles and applied them. And then now you'd go basically right into leg swing. So if you could hold crunch, leg swing is just lever first. So you would lift your head and chest, hold, hand behind the head maybe. Then you'd hover your feet, maybe bring your feet up and your legs start to go forward. You pause and then your legs start to come back. If you're feeling good, legs up, leg swing, leg down. And you could do the little pelvic lift at the top, right? So that's reverse crunch. Like you can do fancy abs all day, right? I have a list of abs I actually looked at this morning and I have all these things written down from years. But then just when I do the fancy abs like that? No, I don't. I do leg lever, double hollow body. That's like the main one. Basically what you're doing right now. I do rotational here too. So my legs will go up and I'll turn the outer toes kind of out and then up. I'll turn the outer edge of the feet down. Now I'll go to the right a little bit. You can hold blocks between your elbows and knees, and you can do a lot of like those type of statics. But this is how I get the greatest ab contraction. Just simple here. I want to do one more. It goes right from leg swing. It basically is the leg swing. I would eventually bring your head and arms down, bring your knees over your hips. You still have your block and your knees kind of go to the side. You guys know this. There's really not a great substitute for this. It's how are we going to resist twist? How do we create weight against a twist in the spine and the core in yoga? This is a good way. Probably the best way I can think of off the top of my head right now. I'm forgetting one way, but so basically you're on your back, head and shoulders, arms down, knees over hips, knees go directly to the side. The spinal stretch twist you do all the time. This is the strengthening kind of variation, the movement. If your back hurts, don't go far. Inches to the side, pause like we're doing, pause, and then come back. Get into it. We could do like bicycling. There's really not that much twist. And you already did that, elbow to knee under the body. Remember that? You did that already. So that's a good one. I like to teach that. But this is like the true rotational path, right? This is transverse abdomen. It's really oblique oriented. So that's your first run through your front body, right? Kind of an upper contraction, a lower tension contraction, and then the twist, it's the transverse. So you covered all the ab muscles right there, all 4 layers. So now I would say a counter, like a bridge, right? You don't want to like overdo that. That's already a lot. And if we got to strengthen the butt now. So it's good old bridge. One-legged bridge. You can add walking bridge, sliding bridge. That would be more hamstrings. But if you're feeling good, just come right up and do up table. You add the arms because we didn't do much arm bearing exercise. We will do a quick, easier side plank coming up next, just so we're clear. But bridge, one-legged bridge, up, pause, slowly lower down, up, pause, slowly lower down. If you're good, feeling good, reverse plank, reverse table, one-legged. Let's get going in the back body. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, come on. The goal is to really fire your butt. Remember, in bridge, we're pressing the big toe down. We'll pull in the ears to the shoulders. We're working, lengthening the abdominals. We are posterior tilting. So if you're confused, you have to get into bridge, arch the back, and then that's your cow. And then tuck your tailbone between your legs. That's your cat. The cat in bridge is what we're working. cat hips and bridge, hip thrust, hip extension. That is key. Bridge and anterior tilt is garbage. Let me just say it clearly. We're trying to activate the butt is the whole reason. Then you hold anterior tilt. That's psoas. That's antagonist action. All right. You have to learn the posterior tilt. I did a whole class on that, and I've showed it so many times. Okay. Get into it. We're here in the end of strength, guys. Keep it up. Nice, guys. Yep. A lot of us doing our bridges to keep that knee over the heel. Don't let it buckle in and out. So yeah, doing the up table, beautiful. And then if you're feeling good, I think who's doing that? Stella, Kathy, you can do one-legged. That's the real glute trainer. You know, if you don't have weights, one-legged, you know, a compound, remember that on the hands, it will be more like athletic contraction. Before range, you get longer thrust. So the one-legged up table thrusting, it's hard to beat glute contraction and body weight training. That's hard to beat. Yeah, nice. You can pulse up there. All right, you got another like short minute, guys, okay? Now, I had you hold the block with the front body because front body tends to work with inner body, right? You can do tests, right? You can do plank and see which engages better, your outer hips or your inner thighs. I'll just save you the trouble. It's inner thighs. That's a test, right? To tell you what is working together, which muscle groups. And then if you do bridge, what's hitting harder, your inner thighs, your outer hips? Most likely on most people, it's outer hips. Outer line works with back line and inner line tends to work with front line. There's always exceptions, right? But this is why I'm doing it this way. Just more strategy, more using our intelligent mind and our information science in what we're doing, not just doing stuff. All right. Now we did the back butt, so we want to do the outer butt. It's called glute medius abduction. We did some stuff for it, but nothing really strong. So I do want to hit it. And it's called hip stabilizer. This is not too bad, yogis. It's a good one. I do this one all the time, even when I can do full side plank. So just remember, this is bridge. It's not what I'm doing now. It looks like this, knees back, watch, hips forward, up. And if you're feeling good, lift that top leg. So look, it's a hold. It ain't no anterior tilt. My butt is not behind me. It's driving forward. It's more like bridge. If you watch, I drop the hips, the knee down an inch. I lift them up an inch. I thrust, yogis, up. Just to be clear, in case, you know, that angle's not great, right? You are like this. What people tend to do is this. Go around their spine. They'll bring their knees forward. They'll stick their butt back. Yogis, it's this. It's literally like bridge. It's almost more like this. Okay? Side body. We didn't do a big strengthener for it, guys. Get into it. You know, you kind of start with inner, like front, like right in the abs, right in the center, right? And then you kind of wrap to the obliques and the transverse, and then you wrap down to the butt and back outside again. You know, it's a pretty challenging core sequence if you're working it. Looks good. A lot of you is looking, you know, even though you think you're not sticking your butt out or your knees aren't in front of you too much, it takes practice. You're not used to being in maybe that extension form, hip extension, spinal extension more. Okay, last few. Do the second side when you're ready, guys. You can do it in full side plank. You can straighten your top leg too. Think bridge, push your hips forward more. Better. It's weird. It's weird. Not easy. If your back hurts, you shouldn't move. You should just hold. you know, and maybe not even lift the top leg, just do gentle side plank. A good recipe for back pain is to let this get really weak, right? When you think of the strongest people, like athletes, they don't have just back pain a lot all the time, right? It's usually the people who have weak muscles that have back pain. And that's why I like to say the way to reduce pain is to strengthen. Because you get in this thing, it's like hard to activate because the muscles are weak. It hurts and it's not, you know, inspiring to do it. But then you got to get through that tough time. Okay. So listen, guys, that's pretty good for core. If you want to do one last ab thing or something like a, you know, twist or something, or one last burnout, we didn't do like too much abs. How about I give you one more minute for a last kind of core exercise? We will stretch after this. Okay. So if there's one last little thing, if you want to do another side plank, one more butt, don't overdo the abs now. Do the butt, do the side body some days. And maybe you want to do like a big twist if you feel like we didn't hit that hard enough. What's one more thing that your body needs currently? Last night when I worked out, I did more posterior chain. You know, I did abs Saturday really strong. And then what is today? Tuesday. Yeah. Monday, I didn't really do much on Sunday. I took the day off. And Monday, last night was posterior chain, like a lot of lower back, a lot of butt and hinging, squatting, both back line for me. And then what else did I do for lower back? Little back crunches, you know, so my core was back. Most people wouldn't think like that. All right, Yogi. So a lot of you still going, but I want to move forward. We don't have much time left. We probably need a couple good stretches here today.
You know, nice outer hip stretch. How about maybe the Gomukhasana? I love the Gomukhasana and the reclining. It's not done enough, and it's bilateral. It's a little deeper in the hip than figure four. Figure four would be already easy. If you want to come up and do pigeon, nice. But, you know, easy is here. But if you're going to try it, I cross the thighs. Now, you do have to kind of curl up to get it, right? And you grab the ankles. Now, watch, yogis. My heels don't go down like that. I know that's how you sit on Gomukhasana, but the feet go wide. That's actually full Gomukhasana. You pull the ankles. You feel good. You can grab the soles of the feet from the outside, not top of the foot. And I try to bring my sacrum head down. I flex my feet and I pull and hold. Basically, you're crossing your thighs like eagle, right? You know, we've done that in some of my more advanced classes. You do Gomukhasana here, right? It's not really beginner yoga though. All right, let's take our hip stretch. We'll have time for like 3 stretches. So if any hip stretches calling to you, we didn't do like straddle, you know, we didn't do a lot of hamstring style. You know, slow down a little bit, yogis. Come back to your breathing and you do that second side when you're ready. Usually, what do they say in yoga? It's like a lot of the traditional forms. In the end, it's like a leg stretch, hip stretch, a core stretch, spine stretch, and then shoulder stretch, right? So it's like those 3 parts of our body. Right, so if you're studying the skeleton, the bones, we have these basically two groups, right? You
Your appendicular skeleton is your arms. Your hips are part of that. Your ilium and your hip joint, where your hip, your femur, your leg bone meets your ilium, that's the big pelvic bone. That's still appendicular spine, right? Only your skull, your ribs, and your sacrum and your coccyx are your axial spine. So you have like two parts of your skeletal body, let's call it. And that's why you kind of stretch like that. One is for the lower appendicular, one is for the upper appendicular, and then one is for the axial spine, right? So 3 parts there. So let's do one more. Now, what's 2 good core releases? You know, I like plow, or you could do restorative fish or spinal twist. Really, guys, if you wanted to take care of all of them in one stretch, it's hard to beat this, right? It's hip, it's spine, and it's shoulder. That's why I always say it's like one of the biggest stretches that's just always done. People like warm up in that stretch. It's a big one. So how about a mid-body stretch, twist, plow, a supported block pose? What's nice, yeah, a few years doing seated spinal twist, and that's nice too. That's still upper body, it's still hip, it's still going to be all 3, right? It's because you get the back of the shoulder more when you're there. The front shoulder closes down, whereas the reclining twist, you're like this, it opens here, and the seated, you're kind of here and it stretches back here a little more. I feel that. All right, can we do the second side, please? And then you're going to do this. If you want to do, you know, one more stretch or something, that's cool. But I do want to make sure you do meditation, because we're at 9:58 here. All right. So you're finishing up your twist. If you want to just touch your toes, that's a nice finisher there. If you want to do anything in the arms, like I said, close up your physical practice. And then remember, what does traditional Kriya Yoga do, right? If you're in a Kriya Yoga class, you guys know Bikram, that is Kriya lineage. What do they do in the end of that class? The teacher puts you into meditation and the teacher leaves the room. And then you can stay in the room. It's like there's no class for a half hour. And you can stay in that room. It's dark, it's quiet. And you can meditate. They don't wake you up from your meditation because there's a class time limit, right? So I know I leave you here a lot. It's almost a blessing in disguise, all right? Because you can extend the most important part of the class. So you're going to finish up your physical pose, your last stretch. Some of you are still going there. You can meditate with your legs up the wall and stuff. It's just, you don't want it to be too physically stimulating. We're trying to go internal presence and awareness. So you don't want like the body aching or anything in meditation, right? So the goal eventually is, you know what the deal, you get in your comfortable position, you settle the body, you calm it, focus your attention inward, maybe taking a couple breaths. But then it's you sitting inside the internal awareness, the third eye, the space where you can see inner visions. And then even that starts to calm. The body settles, the mind starts to settle a little bit. And in the beginning, yogis, you know, forever, really, there's those days where you just sit with your thoughts. It's okay. You're still in that space. Inside, doing deep work. You looked at the physical layers a lot. You looked at the breath a lot. Now look at the thought body a lot and the emotional body a lot. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. And we'll leave you here, guys. I'll be here for Hatha Yoga on Thursday at 9. Good job today, yogis. Namaste.